Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back here to another edition of the Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys watching today's video. And guys, today we're going to have a little conversation about line size and if the size of the line that you're using spooks the fish. I think a lot of people probably have mixed feelings on this, and I'll sort of give you guys what has been my experience on it as far as line size goes. Now, I think a lot of it depends on the type of line that you're using. Obviously, if you're using like a braided line, braided line is a lot more visible to the fish. So obviously, yes, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that braided line can, cause the fish not to bite a lure if they can see the line coming down the water. Not so much if it's on the top of the water, like with a frog or something, but as far as if the actual line is in the water, there's no doubt in my mind it's going to take away from your strikes. Now, back before we had the clear fluorocarbon lines that we use today, a lot of the lines were like clear blue fluorescent. And I still caught a lot of fish on that, but then again, if you look at the line in the water, it's highly visible if the water's pretty clean. So from that standpoint, I do think that colored line a little bit can cause you to, the fish to see the line. So let's talk more about the type of line people use today, which is the fluorocarbon lines. I use that Seaguar Invisex. There's a lot of fluorocarbon lines. One of the biggest advantage of using a fluorocarbon line is it's very low visibility. It's lower diameter, lower visibility. But the question still remains, can fish see the fluorocarbon line, in a larger size? Now, I think a lot of this, it has to do with the technique that you're fishing, because let's say, for example, you're fishing like a shaky head worm, which most people fish a shaky head worm like on an 8-pound test line, 8-pound test fluorocarbon. If you throw that shaky head worm like on 15 or 20-pound test fluorocarbon and the water visibility is clean, like, over 4 foot of clarity, yeah, there's going to be some element of the fish maybe being able to detect that line a little bit more. But I think in a bigger picture, I think the larger line, how it affects the fish more as far as biting or not biting your lure, is that it changes the action of your lure. Because let's go back to the shaky head. If you throw a shaky head on 8-pound test line and you're working along the bottom, it looks completely different as if you throw it on 20-pound test line, because the lighter head and the thicker diameter line is going to make that bait fall different. And that combination of maybe being able to see the little bit thicker line and the change in action on the lure can definitely take away from your strikes with that. So I think water visibility is a really, really key factor on this, as far as if you're determining whether those fish can see a line or not. Now, if you're fishing super dirty water, like water visibility of 6 to 12 inches, and you're using fluorocarbon line, I don't think that the bass can see. If you're using 20-pound line or 8-pound line and the water's dirty, I simply don't think the fish can see that. I think it's more about, what that heavier line does to the action of your lure with that. But overall, I think that you have to be aware of your line size if you're dealing with water visibility, say over 4 foot. Sort of use that as your baseline. If you're fishing clear water situations, give bass credit, or give fish in general credit, for how smart they are. Because if you figure a bass can detect like a minnow in the middle of the night, or it can see a minnow well enough in low visibility conditions to hit it, you got to pretty much think that they can see some type of refraction from line on a larger size. It only makes sense that, their ability to do that is a little bit greater. So the main thing I think that you want to do, guys, is try to use not necessarily the heaviest line or the lightest line you can get away with, but just try to use the right pound test line for the situation. If you're fishing a finesse bait in clear water, go to a lighter line. If you're fishing a little bit heavier lures and a little bit more off-colored water, you can get away with heavier line. And then there's in-betweens there. Say, for example, if you have one extreme is super clear water, like 8 foot of visibility, and the other extreme is dirty water, like 6 inches of visibility, just sort of use that as a guideline to make the appropriate choice. But overall, best piece of advice I give you guys, give fish the credit for as smart as they are. They can pick up things that you and I may not think that they can. They really can, and that'll help you out in the long run. So thanks for tuning in. See you.